Welcome to Collector's Corner, the premier digital art platform.
We help collectors gain and maintain their edge, all while appreciating beautiful art.
Let's jump in.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Cornering the Market from Collector's Corner. My name is P. You may know me online as Aston, joined by my co-host and great friend Jared, who you may know online as Jared_Pause, founder of 8nap, which is both a digital asset fund and an art platform that will be launching in the coming months. Excited for that. How are you, Jared?
Doing really well. As I shared with you off camera, the fourth artist for 8nap art made a commitment. It's one that I'm like incredibly excited about. So just grinding and growing both on the fund and on the platform. It feels good. It feels like there's a lot of momentum, and we can talk about it in the sentiment check, but overall just really bullish and excited for what's to come.
Likewise, so are we. No, you've been working hard on this, so really cool to see that. And here is my Twitter for anyone who's watching on screen at AstonCloud. Please give me a follow. Here is Collector's Corner's Twitter at collectors_XYZ. If you're listening and you enjoy this show, we really appreciate you and would appreciate a follow. Also on YouTube, please like and comment. That really helps us a lot. And if you're not able to watch on video, this will be on podcasting platforms as well. And we have a newsletter where we write more stories than we can fit in this show. The newsletter is $20 a month to get all of the weekly content. If you are not able to pay, every other week is free. This week's one will be free. And finally, I know there's a lot going on. Last but not least, I have a investor service, Collector's Corner Premium, if you want to build wealth while collecting great art. All that out of the way, let's go straight into the vibe check. Jared, what's the vibe out there in the broader market?
I like the vibe. It's, to me, putting in a really good vibe base. I don't know how you quantify that, but there are no like large sales that we'll talk about later. But overall, I feel like the attention is going into the appropriate places. There's not the manic everything goes up yet, but man, it feels good that there's attention going to the right places, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It does seem like there's been a focus on quality, a focus on artists who are interacting with their collectors in a quality way, interesting experiments, and overall, I think just the flushing out of the mania, which is great. And we were talking a little off screen. It could be end of summer. Things are a bit quiet, but not negative. It's not like a major lack of liquidity, just a ho-hum summer bear market week. Speaking of, let's take a look at the Ethereum Gen Art side. What did you see over here the last 7 days?
So the two sales that wanted to highlight is one, a Light Years sale by Dmitry Cherniak for 17 ETH. That was a really cool sale because it bumped the floor up to 25. You don't see those move very well, but the 17 ETH one is actually that on Collector's Corner Premium, we had identified as an opportunity. And there's also a Def Beef synth poems. But overall, and I think that sold for 17 ETH also. Apparently that's the magic number over the last 7 days. And then just two others I wanted to talk about, or at least address, is that there's a Memories that I've adored since day one. I call it the Hummingbird, and it sold. It's a Smoke and Fire. I forget, I didn't put down the exact number, but it sold this week for 60. I just thought that was a really cool buy, because this is one that looks blatantly like a hummingbird. And then, to tap on Memories again, there was a great Focal Memory sale at 6.5. So I just think if you're out there and you're looking at collections or acquiring really great pieces, there's just, again, we've been saying this, I feel like, for the last couple months, great opportunity. Yeah, right there on screen, Memories 632. I don't know about you, but that piece in particular motivated me to go look for animal representatives. I think I had a hummingbird myself at one point. So I don't know. It feels like that was a really fun piece. And I forget who tweeted about it. The wallet generative_maxi. They tweeted about the acquisition, and it just looks like it arrived in a really good home. They're very complimentary to the piece. So, that's just the affirmation that we were talking about the market sentiment, that these pieces are going to the right people and the right people are getting excited about it. So a little bit of a divergence from the notable sales, but overall just consistent volume this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, as you mentioned, the Light Years piece by Dmitry Cherniak was on Collector's Corner Premium. This piece, this Memories of Qilin 632, was also on Collector's Corner Premium multiple times. And I don't say that to show Collector's Corner Premium, but obviously I'm a fan, but really more to say it's somewhat predictable. It seems like we're noticing the good deals that are out there, and they're not getting snatched right away, but within a few days or a few weeks, they do get picked up. And so there is some inefficiency in the market if we're kind of multiple folks are seeing the same thing and kind of deciding that, hey, yeah, this is undervalued. So that's nice to see as well. And probably good for the market to take a bit of a breather. Probably good that we didn't see any Fidenza sales in the last 7 days. Things needed to just rotate and cool off a bit, but really overall great to see the movement on the high end. And in terms of fxhash, I do feel a little bit like a broken record on this one. Over the last 7-day period in fxhash, we had one new collection that did quite well in terms of secondary volume, leading the pack. For once, Zenken is not at the top, but he's in number 2 with some Kinder Garden Monuments move, and really similar story. Maybe a little bit more of secondary action by like a couple thousand Tezos compared to the prior week, but really similar story here. We have a mix of new projects, but mostly old projects that are well loved, continuing to see some liquidity and volume. Anything that
I
you've
can say
noticed?
confidently this week I'm a contributor to that volume. I picked up an Acequia on a bid that I had in that I was super stoked to get. So again, if you guys are looking at collections, put the bids out there and contact those sellers and see what happens, man. There's definitely some beautiful opportunities out there.
I saw that. Also, another piece mentioned on Collector's Corner Premium. I'll say this was a really nice pickup. Yeah,
I was really happy to add this to the funds collection.
definitely. Well, I'm sure other things that make you happy. Chromie Squiggles. What's been going on the Squiggle side?
We'll touch on the mints in a little bit, but this is I would say right in line with the last couple of weeks of price action. The volume was 271 Squiggles this week. That's up from 250.92 last week. 10.3 floor versus 10.2, so trending in the right direction, and 21 sales versus 20. Again, overall, really standard week. It felt like the attention and enthusiasm is building up. I really feel like this is that proverbial basketball underwater, and we're just looking for some sort of release mechanism, which could be the last mint in the project. But it feels like there's something special on the horizon here. The highlights, there's one buyer in particular that has just been buying up some really great pieces, and they're active in the Squiggle DAO Discord. And they blatantly said, I'm going to pay what I want to pay for the pieces I want to buy. And I think they bought 3 pieces this week. It included a 21 ETH ribbed sale. That there was a color spread 12 that they acquired for 19.5 ETH. That was number 7807. And there was a color spread 12 that they really paid up for, is 9770. They paid 22 ETH. So I thought that was really, really exciting to be able to see somebody acquiring pieces that they love and targeting those. Overall, just a little fun fact, in their collection is number 2161, which at one point resided in my personal wallet. So it's cool to see, again, the theme for this week is great pieces getting to great collectors. Then the other notable sales, there's a bold for 16.5 WETH. So again, if you're looking to put that set together, be active with putting WETH bids out there. You'll be surprised what could actually land. And that's a good looking bold, 4234. I think that's it's not a floor bold. I love the shape on this one, and just even like the tip of it, how it's just slightly different in color, man. I think it looks good.
Yeah, fun fact. This is the last one I'll say. Also, Collector's Corner Premium. In this case, we pointed this one out. Hit a nice bid on it. So congrats to that premium member. 16.5, man. I got a bold at 23 and I was really psyched. It seems like I could have done better, but amazing update as always, Jared. Thank you on this, and we'll talk more Squiggles in just a little bit. I know we're both excited to talk about that. Let me quickly touch on Friendship Bracelets by Alexis, Andre, and Snowfro. Had 151 sales in the past week. That was up from 125 in the last period. 19 Ether in volume that resulted from those sales versus 16 last week. And the floor prices held pretty steady, 0.11 versus 0.1. It really hasn't changed. And the stat that keeps popping out on Friendship Bracelets listings up a little bit, 1366 versus 1331. That's about 3.5%, folks. Floor is thin. Bracelets are thinning out, holding up at this 0.1 ETH level. Really interested to see what happens when we get some liquidity and some more interest back in Gen Art, knowing that it might be a year or two until that flows down to Bracelets. But Bracelets are looking good. And not importantly, they're not showing us any alarm bells about the broader market, which is really what we pay attention to. Let's do some quick release recaps. Just one I wanted to tee up here, Jared. This is Brain Mappings by Ira Greenberg. It is the latest Braindrops release. Came out on August 30th. So just yesterday, we're recording 31st. This will be out the 1st. Really interesting project that had a bunch of different motifs and all sort of aerial images meant to look like real world images, obviously with a little bit of fantasy mixed in. If you look at the colors of some of these aerial views, aerial mappings. Project minted at 0.1 ETH, fixed price. That's how Braindrops does it. It's up a little bit, 0.162. I guess there are 511. I didn't realize there's a couple extras there. Decent amount listed, so it'll probably trend down, but overall feels like a pretty good release at a decent price, and a lot of people are excited about it. Curious to hear your thoughts, Jared.
I really like the variety in the outputs. I think there's some that aesthetically are more I'm drawn to more than the others, but overall, from a couple different discords I've been in, it's been very well received, and you're starting to see individuals like Grant Yoon tweet about the diptych that he put together. And I think that there's something about it that to me is very positive about driving attention to AI art. I'm starting to see a narrative develop about AI being a tool for this generation. And I think drops like this will start to onboard more and more people. But as you scroll through, man, there's some that my eye are drawn to more than others. And I think that you'll start to see my hypothesis is it'll be a successful collection, and you'll start to see a variance between, I'll call it, the highly collected pieces and maybe the floor pieces.
Yeah, and it's just as an aside, I feel like we're so spoiled. The art is really nice. Ira, I'm sure, spent a lot of time creating this art, and in my mind, you can look at this and you can nitpick a little bit here and there about different features of the art, but overall, it's really, really nice. And I think we're just spoiled. We're going to be in an era of such fantastic art. So I agree with you on AI as a tool. Really excited to see how artists can creatively integrate it into their process, however big or small, and what that ends up looking like. The future holds for us.
I wasn't intending to nitpick. It's more or less, it's an amazing drop. It's been one of my favorite AI drops in a long time. So to your point, kudos to the artist, kudos to the release. I think that, the other point I'll make is the drop being 511 was appropriately sized. Like, there's a good variety that shows up in here, and I think people will be drawn to it.
Yeah, and by the way, I wasn't saying you're nitpicking. I just was kind of reflecting on how we can at least I can get lost in the weeds and start, analyzing and dissecting something. But, it's good for me to take a step back and say, wow, that, regardless, this is really, really nice art. Some more, actually, not more, but some news. Chromie Squiggles essentially completely minted out. It seems like it happened pretty quickly over the last month, but Snowfro had a really nice post here on Twitter where he talks about it. 66 Squiggles came out yesterday. Only 2 are left. One that is some special commemorative thing that he'll announce soon. And the very, very last one going to the LA County Museum of Art. Jared, I mean, there's kind of a couple narratives here we can talk about. One is the finally, effectively, the end of Squiggle minting. Anybody who was holding out hope, like me, that I might get a Squiggle mint, that's now over, but that's okay. And also, what did you think of the Squiggles that came through? Any that you liked? However you want to take it. But those are the two thoughts that come to mind.
Yeah, I'll talk first emotionally. The emotional aspect of it is I'm like I love seeing these come out of the minter. It's such a fun, being so deep into the algorithm and being able to get into the details. I love seeing everything come out of the minter. It just brings me so much joy. I mean, the last time it happened, I hopped on Spaces with the Squiggle down, and we were like doing some live review. It's like an adult Christmas, man. Like I just absolutely love it. And yes, I'm a Squiggle nerd. I own squigglemaxi.eth. Like this is exciting for me and for the community. So it's sad to, and then so the flip side is it's sad. It's sad to think that like it's coming to an end. And I think that history we look back on it, and there's gonna be, a line in the sand of like Squiggles pre closed minter and Squiggles, upon its completion. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity being later to Squiggles to have minted one through the Venus over Manhattan mint. And I think that this is just showing so then the analytics aspect of it. Again, shout out to Nifty 50 and his amazing tweet that analyzes all of the actual data and some of these outputs. And he always finds like the little pieces to the algorithm that are always so fun. Like one of the mints created a triplet, which is really fun to see that even if all the metadata is the same, the output is varied. So that's like very reassuring about the uniqueness of every piece. But the other thing that was really interesting is 66 mints and you didn't see any hyper variants or perfect or full spectrums, right? So it's crazy to think that there's only two left. I think that the highlights for me was there's a just absolutely stunning ribbed, and then there's a bold by a great supporter of myself and Collector's Corner, Monty, who it's within 5 points of perfect. I just think it's absolutely stunning bold. So overall, I think that while there's not this showstopper hyper or perfect spectrum, there was amazing mints, and I think Nifty did a great job highlighting that in his tweet.
No, that's awesome. I think I echo all your sentiments. I do feel like there's some catharsis now that they're all minted. I know there's technically two left, but they're spoken for. At least they've all been spoken for, and it's out there. Almost all of them out there. We'll see what the last two end up bringing out. I think there'll be a lot of interesting analysis on the collection afterwards. I was surprised in terms of the mints to see two pipes come out. Surprised and slightly disappointed as a pipe holder. No, I'm just kidding. It had been a while, and pipes seemed relatively underrepresented. I agree with you on that ribbed. That was amazing. This one was really unique. 9967. I think this one went to Jordan Leal from Prohibition, who's awesome. But really interesting shape on this one, I felt like. And also, I told you off camera, I love 9994. Just a brilliant one in terms of the shape and the color and the symmetry and everything. So some really cool stuff that came through as always. And I mean, we kind of now have our final numbers, right? There's going to be 23, most likely 23 perfect spectrums, 43 fulls, however many hyper rainbows we got here, 128. We got all our types ironed in, pipes, bolds, ribbed. I'm excited.
I do see a world where there's a rush to collect some of these some more unique pieces because the rarities are finally locked in, right? There's not this like question of like, oh, how many more hypers or how many more of this? Like I really do start to think that some of these more aesthetically pleasing pieces get locked away for a long time.
I think so too. And by the way, very few monochromes that came through the printer. I know that some people who follow me know I'm a fan of the monochrome slinkies and pipes. I think this pipe was the only real monochrome that came through. 15, yeah, it's 15 spread, 181 to 196. There you go. Got us a monochrome, baby. Congrats to whoever got this. Anyways, won't belabor the point. I think I'm feeling a little nostalgic about the Squiggles minting through. It is sad, but it feels like we can move on from them, and that's nice as well. Which, oh wow, look at this one listed at the floor, Jared. This is a really nice. Let's see how monochrome it is, but it's pretty close. It looks like, yeah, just 18 spread on these ones. Very nice. Anyways,
It's
I'll
funny
digress.
that you point this one out because I was looking at it earlier. It's for anybody online. It's 2106. It's a slinky. The thing that was really captivating to me is it has a really cool, almost symmetrical shape, and it's really it's shorter. It has a low segment, which drives that low monochrome look. But I mean, it's this cute little condensed looking. I think it's like I was literally looking at it this morning. It's I think a 13 segment, so one off the low, and it's just this very unassuming but yet very beautiful slinky right at the floor.
There you go. There you go. Anyways, we should stop talking about Squiggles, or we're going to take up this whole episode on that.
I'll talk all day long about the Squiggles.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's do some great art at great prices. I wanted to start off with Factura by Matthias Isakin. Really great collection. As more and more gen art comes out, I tweeted about this. I continue to be very much drawn to really the old style pure gen art, 500 to 1,000 pieces, good number of traits, good variety, good, just well done. Screens is another one like this. Obviously, Anticyclones, Memories of Chile, and a lot of stuff that we love. But Factura is in that group for me, and the only one that's close to our cutoff of $500 or less, 0.36 floor price. In full disclosure, I'm an owner of this collection, but again, it's because I love it. Go throw it over to you.
Yeah, an artist I'm really drawn to in general. In full disclosure, I hold a bunch of these in my personal wallet. It's called Scaffold. Right now, it's a 250 piece collection from Rich Pool. The floor is somewhat low at 55 Tezos. I think the real gems really appear in that 120 Tezos arena, but for $100, I mean, these are just, it's a really beautiful balance, in my opinion, between line work and coloring. There's just these little subtleties in the collection if you go through the metadata, but overall, really great artists, really great work, and it's one that I'm continually drawn to. And at that price point, it feels like a really fun piece of art to put on.
Yeah, this is a really cool one. I hadn't seen it before. Thanks for shouting it out. And the last great art at great prices, that this is one I wanted to shout out. It's Gerhard by Leander Herzog and Richard Nadler. Leander has one of the Coinbase on-chain summer open editions going right now. It's a fantastic artist. Richard Nadler recently did Yamabushi's Horizons that was on Verse that did really well. And these are just really cool, very abstract art, but I like the way the colors blend together, and sitting at 190 Tezos floor. I think it's quite a good price, relatively thick floor, so you should be able to find some options, although 37 out of 500 listed, so it's pretty relatively locked up, especially for a Tezos collection. Let's do some exciting upcoming drops. This one is not upcoming, but ongoing, but for another 12 days. If my math is right, we have until September 12th. This is Quasi Dragon Studies by Harvey Rayner. It is on Verse, still minting, and each of these tiles are $100 each. And the way that it works is you can actually go over to, I have a whole long specific dedicated podcast to this, so we'll link this to the show notes, but they have a composite builder, so you can take some tiles and you can create composites out of it. So it allows you to create new images. You can combine two tiles together or add in blank spaces. So it's a really cool experiment. It's a really cool project. Ongoing mint, as I mentioned, still another 12 days remaining, 11 days by the time this airs. And really beautiful art. I think Harvey did a fantastic job of ensuring that each of these is beautiful in its own right. So even for $100, you can get some fantastic art. Here, have you had a chance to play around with a composite builder, Jared?
Yeah, I've loosely played around with it. I think that this is just, again, to me, it's an indication of Harvey's commitment to the advancement of the space overall. kudos to him and Verse for creating an attractive price point to be able to get exposure to Harvey's work. And I just love the story behind this and how it's like a culmination of a lot of Harvey's life experiences and thoughts all coming out. I know that, knowing more about the story behind the scene, the amount of work that Verse put into this, the amount of time that Harvey committed to creating something that's super excellent. I'm a huge fan of this art. And one thing that wasn't mentioned is this the Black Dragon and White Dragon compilation. So for any of you looking for some potential alpha and being able to create opportunities, I mean, that Black Dragon hunting is something that if you dig into the algorithm long enough and you're proactive, right, it's not going to be out there forever. Being able to compile some of this is there's real opportunities for creating something rare for your own collection and value accrual. I mean, I think there's really, it's such a dynamic project. I'm in awe of what Harvey has created with this one, and not only to create a engaging dynamic, but with beautiful art. I think is hats off to Harvey for just an amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely. And for more details on those Black Dragons and White Dragons, check out the podcast that we did. And he also has a really great website where he details out how you get those special pieces. But yep, you can see it right down here. Also in the verse, see available configurations here. There's a lot of details that go into this, so we can't get to all of it now. But congrats to Harvey, everybody involved, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'll be happy to help you with it. The other release we wanted to talk about this week is our friend William Mapan. He's back. He is releasing a new project called Distance. It's with the LA County Museum of Art in collaboration with Cactoid Labs, coming out September 12th. We don't have more details yet, but it is in William's style that he's been teasing for quite some time, which is really trying to create real life appearing paint digitally. Digital painting, I think he calls it sometimes. Any thoughts on this one, Jared?
I love William's work. I am excited about the opportunity of acquiring a piece. I hope to find my way into the short list of the allow list. I mean, anytime William releases work, we've been following this. It's just a reminder to me about how amazing he is at putting code together to create something that just has that realistic nature. And then what I'm looking forward to is looking at the outputs and the colors and the palettes. I just think William is so brilliant at how the composition and colors come together. I just can't wait for the 12th to be around the minter and just watch the outputs. It's super exciting.
It is super exciting. And yeah, can't wait to hear more details about it. We'll update folks next week with anything new prior to the release. Let's take it home with a couple artists to highlight. My first is Andreas Giesen, who also has maybe like an artist pseudonym. He uses his real name too. But Andreas recently had the solo exhibition on Verse called Materialized. He was a former designer at Nokia, and therefore is really good with screens and makes art with severe constraints, often using just ASCII. Really, really cool art. Even his website is a work of art. He's got physicals he's released before, and physicals that he released as part of Materialized. And I just think he's really good, man. Different style. I like these artists who are sort of carving out their own niches, very digital, very savvy. Really cool stuff. Wanted to highlight him. If you don't know him, just check out his work. Go to his Twitter. It's linked in our show notes. Go look at his website. Check out his Super Rare. I think you might find something you like, and at the very least, you get exposed to something new. Throw it over to you for TLP.
Yeah, TLP, Thomas Lynn Peterson, for those who aren't familiar with the acronym, just an amazing artist and amazing collector. I was scrolling through Screens last night, his art blocks curated collection, in preparation for the episode, and just noticed that there was a couple sales, mainly Weath sales, but overall I was just perusing the listings, and it reminded me that there's some really great pieces very close to the floor. And maybe a little known fact, but you and I have both ordered our prints, but you can go on and check if these prints are available. I believe it's through his official website, and he's giving them away. And if you have, or you can check those prior to buying it. But really great artist, great community member, so involved. And it's not just screens, like there's imprecision by bright moments, and just a really, really amazing individual. And fun fact, he was the first artist appearance on a deep dive into a collection for a Collector's Corner. So hats off to TLP for always being ahead of the curve and committed to not only the craft but the community. So I thought it was an appropriate time to highlight his art, because I'm personally enamored with screens. Full disclosure, I hold some personally and for the fund, but just really, really amazing work, and a really amazing individual also.
100%. We love TLP. If you're listening, hello. Thanks for all the great work you do. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you as always. Please let us know any feedback. Give us a like, give us a follow, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into Collector's Corner. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you like this episode and want to help us out, please subscribe and leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube. Please also follow us on Twitter for announcements as we expand to other social and content platforms. Our Twitter handle is @collectors_XYZ. We'd also love to hear any feedback you have, so please comment or reach out. We're always striving to be more useful and get better so we can help you in your collecting journey. The Collector's Corner team and their guests are not registered investment advisors. All views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions and are not specific inducements to make particular investments or investment strategies, and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. This show is solely for informational and entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, please consult a professional.